Welcome to episode number 127 of the Chris Rose Rotation, a production of John Boy Media, and presented to you once again by our friends over at SeatGeek. Today, taking a seat from the Milwaukee Brewers, Rowdy Tellez, who is joining us from Pittsburgh as the Brewers continue their road trip. What's up, my man? How are you?
Chris, how we doing, man? Good to be on the show.
Hey, I appreciate it greatly. It's been a little while since we chatted, so it's good to catch up. I'm curious. During this road trip, you've had a few monster games, including down in Tampa where you hit one off the catwalk. I never saw an ISO shot of you. Were you sprinting the whole time or not?
No. Rowdy and sprinting don't really go together. And, I'm not the fastest person in the world, but when I hit that ball, I hit it really well, and I knew it was gone. I actually didn't know it hit the catwalk.
Mm-hmm.
So the right fielder, Harold Ramirez, kind of fooled me. He was standing there. I was like, there's no way. If this ball doesn't leave the yard, I might just eject myself. And then it hit the catwalk, and I was like, oh, okay. But the second baseman was waving it in. And I was, I'd played there in the AL East, so I kind of knew third ring's a home run, fourth ring's a home run if you hit it. So it hit it, and I just kind of jogged. That was really it.
Yeah, I would have been pissed if that had been anything other than a home run, because if you hit the ball that far, that close to the wall, and it hits a catwalk, I got to be honest with you, the rules down there fuck me up, man. I get very confused.
I was talking, they were like, yeah, the net behind first base is in play. So if my shortstop throws it over my head and hits the net, it's in play. But if it hits one of the poles, it's out of play. And I was like, well, that doesn't make much sense if the net's touching the pole. There was so many rules, and I was sitting there thinking, I'm like, man, if there's just a ball that ends up on the field, just go and grab it.
So wait a second. Are you saying that it's like arena baseball, arena football, where a ball bounces off the net, somebody can catch it for a touchdown or an interception? Are you saying that you can that thing's live?
We were joking about that. It's something like that. The pole's live, but the net's not, or other way around. It's weird. It's the rule says it's the field facing net or field facing pole is live. It's odd. We were going over it because I had never heard that either, especially playing there as much as I have.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Tampa's just one of those weird places. I think we had we had 2 home runs in the same game that hit the catwalk. Luis Urias did the same thing, hit a catwalk too. His ball was going to go way further than mine. He crushed that.
Anyway, Luis. What percentage of baseball fans know your real name?
Do you know my real name?
Yes, I do.
But did you look it up first?
Yes, I did.
So I would probably go with
Ryan John Tellez.
Yeah, I'd probably go with maybe 10%.
I'll take the under.
Like a high 10%. That's at the peak. I mean, I got family that probably doesn't know my real name. Yeah. I'm gonna go with 10's high, maybe 5. I got teammates that don't know my real name. I came into physicals this year with the Brewers. Granted, I hadn't been with the Brewers very long. Even with the Blue Jays, I'd go in and Tellez, Ryan, and they're looking around, and obviously they hear the last name, and they look at me, and I'm like, yeah, that's my name. And they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, I know. But
Rowdy's been your name the entire time, right? Because it wasn't the nickname given to you when you were in the womb.
Yeah, I've had my nickname longer than my real name. So my parents kind of had an idea of a boy name, a girl name. They didn't want to know if I was a boy or a girl. They kind of wanted to wait, being the firstborn. And I just kind of moved a ton in my mom's stomach, all over the place. Grandma called me Baby Rowdy, and it stuck. Nobody, especially on my dad's side, nobody calls me Ryan.
I would imagine there are people in your family who have no idea that your name's Ryan.
My grandma, my dad's mom, she passed away during COVID. You could ask her, hey, I could walk up to her, Grandma, what's my real name? Rowdy. No, my real name. And she'd look at me and laugh. And I'm like, my dad's the youngest of a bunch. So my grandma was when my grandma passed away, she was 100. So my grandma was 70 when I was born. 73. So that's most grandmas aren't that old when their grandchildren are born.
Right.
So she didn't know my real name and never went by it. It was crazy. But yeah, I got family for sure that doesn't know my real name.
Okay. So I want to start this petition today. I think you're going to be on board. Why can't we change it officially to Rowdy?
A lot of people ask me that. My signature is not even like good with Rowdy. It's terrible. It's terrible altogether. But I people have asked me to do it. I don't know why. I just probably lazy. Don't want to go through that process.
What if we did? I looked this up online. What do you think it costs to change your name?
I don't know. Ocho Cinco would change it every like 2 years. There's guys that change it every 2 or 3 years. So it can't be that expensive.
No, it's $29.95. What if we at the Rose Rotation fill out the paperwork and we'll even pay for it, dude? Here it is.
Yeah, I don't. So the only person that really called me my real name was my mom. So that'd be like, gotta. I don't know if she'd be too happy with that.
Yeah.
But trust me, I've thought about it. People have been like, dude, you should change it to be cool. And I'm like, yeah, I know it would be. And I don't go by. I introduce myself to everybody as Rowdy. Like everybody. Never in. Just never have.
Well, you grew into your nickname, certainly, because you can't be some pencil neck geek, that's split into atoms if you're Rowdy. Like, seriously, could a guy walk into NASA and be like, hi, I'm Rowdy Tellez. How are you? Like,
well, I was like a really good student. So like a 4.4 student in high school. Yeah, I'm like, I'm going to be a biological engineer.
Well, screw Rose then.
No, I'm fucking with you, dude. I ain't that smart. You think I was serious?
Well, I didn't. How am I supposed to know? I didn't see your transcript before we did this.
Hell no. Let's put it this way. Baseball was my best subject in school. I was really good at science and history, but no, like I had no intent of going to college, especially after I committed. Academics took a hit, but no, you're right. If somebody saw, like, if you put out a lineup of people and you said pick out a Rowdy Tellez, you're not picking the goggle wearing skinny kid. Like, you're just not. So I mean, you're not wrong there.
So were you a decent student in high school? Because I read that you're an voracious reader. Like, you love to read.
I would go love to read. I had I read books, but it wouldn't be like I'm not reading a book for pleasure. It's more of like a mental skills book. It's a book of like how to prepare, like going through a tough time in life. I kind of turned to just things that weren't like normal to me. Reading, writing, like just writing down notes of what I felt like I needed to like understand, doing things that were going to benefit me on and off the field, I think was a huge thing. So I would read. I would say wasn't like a avid reader, or wasn't something I was like, I love to read. It was definitely a moment in my life where I was like, okay, I need to take my mind off something, read. I read like The Art of Chinese War, Wooden's Accused of Being a Man, Grit, like those kind of books. I stayed in there to really just understand what it's like, how to be a professional on and off the field. So, I enjoy those things sometimes. Mixing a crossword puzzle here and there. The one stars. Did
you feel yourself going sideways? Is that why you wanted to kind of test yourself?
I just think like I said, when my mom passed away, I just was kind of lost. So I really changed. I wouldn't say changed. I just kind of did things to really keep the mind going and like basically not think about what I was going through in my life, but I think it benefited me a lot. I think one of the biggest things I took away from it was I'm just a person. There's 7 billion of us in this world. I'm just a person. I blow my nose, tie my shoes, put my pants on same way as all 7 billion people. I just so happen to have a cool job, so I think when I say those things, I just really keeps me humble and keeps me down to earth to know that like people can relate to me. And I just want people to know, like, no matter where you come from or what you do or how you perceive yourself, there's always other people in your same shoes, whether they're celebrities, multi-billionaires, or they're people that are just trying to make a buck. Everybody's super relatable to each other.
Mm-hmm. I love that, Rowdy. Thank you. For for people that aren't familiar with your story, you lost your mom a couple weeks before you made your debut in 2018. I've been without my parents for a long time now. And I mean, I'm 51, you're 27, I believe, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't matter what age you lose your parents. When you lose your parents, it sucks. There's just so many moments where you're like, I just wish that they could have seen my kids grow up and all that sort of stuff.
Oh, dude, those are the huge things. Like, I mean, like for me, it's going to be like when I get married or when I'm retired or like you said, kids, there's going to be one person missing. Like, and this is just the hardest thing to do is lose a child. Second hardest thing to do is lose a spouse, as a person. So I think for me, going through all this, like, I just worry about my dad more than anything. He's obviously my biggest fan, my biggest supporter. For me, it's just like making sure that everything's good for him. I think as a child, when you lose somebody at a young age, it's easier to go through. I mean, he lost his dad, I think, at 19 years old too. So he knows what it's like, but he kind of kept me, my shoulders level, kind of kept me just there, being able to understand like things happen for a reason. I would never say I was angry through my process. I would never say I was in denial. Was I disappointed? Yeah. Like, I just felt like, why me? But then I look back and like, my life's not bad. Yeah, everybody hits bumps in the roads and some bumps are bigger than others. But, my mom got to play in the big leagues from a better point of view than most people do. And I think when I keep that outlook, the days where I struggle, the days that are bad, a couple of errors or an 0 for 5 where you cost your team the game or you're that 1 for 40 stretch, like you look back and it's like, is it really that bad? And I think that's what keeps me going and lets me also, again, relate to people where it's like, hey, it's not that bad. It's really not.
I appreciate you sharing that. Is it okay if we talk about your mom a little bit?
Yeah. 100%.
What do you miss most about her?
I think the cup of coffee and cribbage in the morning. I'm a pretty big cribbage player. Do you know what that is?
Of course I do.
Card game? Yeah. So I'm like, not arguably, I am the best in baseball. I've been playing since I was like 7 years old, probably younger, 6 or 7. Yeah. I would say I'm the best cribbage player in baseball. Pretty confident in that.
I love talking to the 1 seed in the cribbage tournament. I can't wait.
Yeah. So, the cup of coffee, the cribbage games in the morning when I was living at home or when I'd come back to visit for the holidays, the laughs, big binge watcher of shows, she was there with me. I think those things, I think the petty little jokes that she would say, and you'd kind of look at her and you're like, Mom, that was such a cheesy joke. And she would like know and laugh at her own joke. And you're like, all right, we're moving on from that one. Those things, those little moments, or like my mom was super small. Mom was 2, if I like remember, like a small person. So like when she would hug me, obviously I'm 6'5". Like when she would hug me, she's the tiny person. So like couldn't quite get her arms almost all the way around, but like, it was those things, or like getting dropped off at the airport before the season, or just like the car rides, her terrible dancing. Like there's a bunch of little things you miss. The holidays are definitely the toughest. My mom grew up Jewish, so we don't celebrate Hanukkah, but like Christmas is massive for her because she never celebrated it growing up. So my dad being Catholic, we celebrate Christmas, and it is massive. It's a big thing for us, in the Mexican culture. And she loved it, decorated our house crazy, like Christmas stuff. So like, I think those holidays are tough, definitely are some of those things that you miss. Definitely take for granted when they're there.
Thank you for sharing, man. Those are great. Those are great stories.
Yeah. And like I said, I'm just a person, man.
I know
everybody goes through the same thing.
Hey, man, but that's what people love about you. I mean, they have gravitated toward you, whether it was in Toronto or now in Milwaukee at your new home, because you're an approachable dude. And I loved the story when you I imagine it was emotional for you playing your old team recently for the first time. And the fact that there was a little kid who drove 500 plus miles to see their favorite player play. You end up hitting 2 home runs. You sign a jersey, the whole bit. Like, dude, this is what it's about in the game, isn't it?
Oh yeah, and like I was that kid too. Growing up going to Giants games, A's games. I grew up 25 minutes from the River Cats, Sacramento River Cats, which were AAA A's at the time. Now they're the Giants. We go to those games all the time. Go to Giants games. Grew up a diehard Giants fan. Go to A's games when my dad had tickets or something like that. So I was always at the ballpark, always screaming for an autograph. Always wants them. Always went to spring training. So I'm an avid autograph collector. Like I ask guys, like I'll buy the jerseys, I'll buy I'll ask for a bat for them signed. Like I got stuff. I have an Andrew McCutcheon signed bat from like 3 years ago in spring training, and now he's my teammate.
Oh,
and I sent him,
awesome.
I sent him a picture. I'm like, dude, like, look, this is my man cave. Your bat is right there next to all the, like, I have a row of MVP bats. And I was like, your bat's right there. Like, and he goes, dude, you're making me feel old. And I'm like, yeah, I know, you should. And, but by the way, Kutch is one of the best teammates I've ever had.
Great.
He is awesome. A true teammate, true leader, a veteran that you want as a young player. But, like they came to me with that jersey. They're like, hey, there's a kid here. Can you sign this jersey? Dad reached out on Twitter. And I was like, yeah, what's his name? And they were like, Xander. And I was like, okay. I was like, is he here yet? And they're like, no, why? And I was like, no, I'll just bring the jersey out. It's a day game. I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to stretch, get my body worked on, and then go in the cage and do my routine. But this is at like 9:45 in the morning. And they're like, no, he won't get here until like 11. I was like, okay. So I said, come back to me with the jersey and I'll sign it and bring it out to him. No, you don't have to do that. I was like, all right, I want. This is what I'm going to do. So I walked out there and he had a huge sign. He was just beyond elated to see me. And I just walked over there and I was just talking to him and his parents were crying. I looked at him and I was like, dude, I'm so happy you're here. And he was like, I'm your biggest fan. And I was like, well, I don't know if you can be my biggest fan. You're not the tallest person yet. But I said, I appreciate you coming to support me all this way. And, again, like that's one of those things where I look back and I'm like, what if that kid was struggling with something? Who knows? He's 5 years old, but what, you never know what people are going through. And it's like, what if that changed the day for him, the week, the month? Like maybe he's getting bullied at school. Who knows? And there was no skin off my teeth. There was nothing. I literally took all of probably 5 minutes and went out there and talked to him.
Rowdy, it's so important though and I think that today's athlete embraces that more so than ever. And I don't know if it's because the wall's been broken down via social media or whatever it is, but like once a month, we see Joey Votto do a great thing. He just did it last night in Chicago where, he's talking to the kid while he's warming up in the on-deck circle, gives him a little fist pump, all that sort of, hits a home run and comes back and celebrates with the kid. That is something those kids, the one that you signed the jersey for, the one that Joey Votto interacted with, I don't care if they're 77, they're going to have that story with them forever. And the fact that you recognize how important that is a blessing.
Yeah, I think the game of baseball is one of the hardest things to do in sports. And I think people also don't understand that. And with social media presence, you get a lot of people that want to talk ill about you. They focus more on the negatives. I get the, hey, I don't have social media, but like I have the handles like set aside, but I don't use social media. I don't care to have social media.
Uh-huh.
Everybody's like, oh, you can market yourself. You get free hunts. I hunt all the time. You can get free stuff. I'm like, yeah, I make enough money. Like, it's cool. Like I live a good life. I don't need another distraction. But I love when like we go to a stadium and they're like, hey, 11, you're fat. And I'm like, yeah, 27 years later, still no. Like I'm aware, hey, you got no hair. I'm like, cool, dude. Sweet, man. Yeah. Had a bad hairline since I was like 22. We're good. Nice. Good joke. But like, you get people that don't understand, like we're normal too. Like we're people too. Like this, I always, I stopped and confronted a fan one time. He was just talking bad about me, my family. Like a lot of stuff obviously was on Google, looking up stuff. And then finally got to my mom and I was like, all right, dude, this is enough. I said, we are not caged animals. This is not a zoo. Now, let me tell you this. You can trap me, but I can't trap you. If I do something I'm the bad guy. You're going to put me on social media and I'm the bad guy. Now, let me ask you this. Would you say the same thing if I was on the other side of that net? No, you're not going to. And he looked at me and was like, yeah, I would. And I'm like, no, you wouldn't. I said, you're all of 5'10". I said, you have a terrible beard. I'm like, you're not going to say anything to a 6 foot, 260-pound person. You're just not. That's not how the human race works. You're not going to confront somebody who's bigger than you. Unless you're Floyd Mayweather, then I'm going to back off. But, we're not cage animals. We're normal people too. So like when we can interact and we can have fun, like it makes our job even more fun, and it makes it not more lax for us, but like it makes the game a game again. Because that's what we're trying to do, inspire the younger generation. And I think when people really understand we're not bad people, we don't, just because we have money and just because we have a spotlight and a platform and we're on TV, like we think we're superior people. No, like we just want to be treated just like everybody else. At least me. Like I'm speaking for myself and probably majority of athletes. We just want to be like everybody else.
That's all it is, man. That's all they want. And there's a lot of jealousy in the world. There just is. So I think there's a very small portion of fans who act the way that dude did, the 5'10" dude with the bad beard. It's a very, very small portion. So they think that they want the story of, hey, I pushed Rowdy Tellez's buttons. I got him. But it's the minute you talk to them the way you did, they flip. They're like, oh, man, I was just joking, or whatever.
Yeah. That's what I said. We're not caged animals. This isn't a zoo. Like, you can't come in here and try and be a person that, trust me, the person that you're not. Because if we were at the barbecue and we're at the park or something, you're not saying that to me.
No.
It's just because you have security.
You're right. You're 1,000% right. I want to get back to your days at Elk Grove High School in Northern California. So you, J.D. Davis, and Nick Madrigal all on the same team?
You're missing 3 more. Well, J.D. had left. J.D.'s 2 years older. Dom Nunez, he was up in the big leagues this year with the Rockies. He was their backup catcher. Derek Hill with the Tigers, the center fielder, and Dylan Carlson.
How the hell did you guys lose a game?
My senior year, JD was gone, but the rest of us were there. We won. I think we lost 1 game that year. Maybe.
Holy shit.
Yeah, we couldn't pitch. We didn't have the best pitching. But actually, what we did? We had 2 guys who went Division I college and then played like a year in the minor leagues, but we could hit.
Well, Carlson, with his arm, he had to have pitched.
He was a freshman when I was a senior. So me and Dom Nunez were the same year. And then the year behind us was Derek Hill. Then the year behind Derek was Madrigal. And then the year behind Madrigal was Carlson. So freshman was Carlson, sophomore, Madrigal, junior was Hill. And then me and Dom were seniors. And then JD was 2 years older than me and Dom.
Okay, so you're hitting balls that go 480 feet in the show against the best players walking the planet. What the hell were you doing to some kid who's just interested in getting into Sac State so he could continue his education?
But Sac State was good. They had Reese Hoskins.
I know, but you know what I'm talking. I'm talking about just as a student. Like he's like, okay, I'll max out as a pitcher my junior year in high school. You must have been hitting the ball 580 feet.
Yeah, there was a couple that I've hit that were like, I mean, you'll run into people or old coaches that coached against you at other high schools. They're like, remember that ball you hit? And I'm like, yeah. Like, there's a pretty cool one. I had a bunch of my family and friends there, and I hit a home run in Rayleigh Field, which is the River Cats, the AAA stadium that left the stadium. I hit it over the berm, hit it over everything. That one was probably a pretty cool one. But yeah, when we all played together, it was kind of a joke. Like we were really good.
Hell yes.
Obviously, all those guys are in the big leagues now, so that says a lot. But Carlson's dad was actually our coach. Was our head coach.
Really?
Yeah. So he spent upwards of, I think, 25 years at Elk Grove High School, and I think through his time had like 8 or 9, maybe 10 big leaguers. David Hernandez, I think, is our most prominent in recent years, the relief pitcher.
Yeah.
I think our biggest name is Buck Martinez, the announcer for the Blue Jays. That's our biggest name, like, guy to come out of Elk Grove. But when you have a span of 7 years with 6 big leaguers, that's pretty remarkable.
Can I tell you, if you have a span of 60 years with 6 big leaguers, that ain't bad.
Yeah, I think we have like 14 or 15 at Oak Grove.
Dude, look at the pictures, man. That's some good stuff.
Yeah,
Love it. Those are by the way, those are pro unis.
Ours?
Yeah.
Elk Grove. We had New Era. Everything was New Era Majestic.
So
we had like 5 or 6 uniforms. Like we're a public school too.
You were one of those though.
Scott Boris went to Elk Grove High School. So
that'll do it too.
Yeah, we had some money from him.
The Rose Rotation is presented to you by our friends at Shady Rays. And yeah, All-Star Week is coming upon us. So this is sunglass season. If you need a new pair or more pair for the summer, look no further than these guys, Shady Rays. Every pair, you've heard me talk about this on Baseball Today. They feature high visibility, polarized optics, and high quality, durable frames, and they're backed by lost or broken replacements. That means if you break them, even on day one, or if you lose them, they will replace them. Now, Shady Rays is changing the way you wear sunglasses in the outdoors. They offer the best combination of fit, style, and performance without the big brand price tag. In addition to that, they help your heart. They provide 10 meals to fight hunger in America with every order and have donated over 20 million meals to date. So you're going to look great in your shades and feel good about making an impact as well. One other thing, if you don't love them, exchange them for a new pair or return them for free within 30 days. So there's no risk for shopping with the boys at Shady Rays. And you'll get $20 off of each pair of premium polarized sunglasses right now, shadyrays.com with the code word JohnBoyAS. I'm going to repeat that because it's a little different. ShadyRays.com. Code word is JohnBoyAS. AS for All-Star. JohnBoyAS. Go get yourself a pair today. So you were going to go to USC, right?
Correct. That was the commitment.
Okay, that was the commitment, and that's why you fell all the way to the 30th round, right?
Yeah. You have area scouts that are supposed to scout out each player and understand them. Yeah, right. They were all bad. They were bad at their job. And I still talk to a bunch of them. I'm like, hey, you guys fucked up. Like, you guys were bad. A, you didn't ask me. You didn't care to, like, understand. Like, I wanted no part of going to school. If I had to go to school, I would have gone to school. But, like, I was like, no. So the guy that actually drafted me with the Blue Jays was my little league travel ball coach. Known me since I was 10 years old. I still talk to him once a week. Pretty much taught me everything about my mindset, my swing. Everything I do is like a guy that he did all this. He works for the Tigers. And now he worked for the Diamondbacks and then the Blue Jays and then the Tigers. And he was like, hey, take him. Like, if he doesn't sign, he doesn't sign. But if we give him the right money, he's going to go play. And they ended up giving me pretty much what I wanted, $50,000 less than what I wanted. And I was like, I'm going to go do it. But I still see scouts and I'm like, hey, and they're like, dude, we should have taken you. I'm like, I know. You guys didn't do a very good job. I'm like, you guys want to give me all these mental tests and 400 question tests there were 7 questions asked 30 different ways. And I'm like, what did that get you? Got you a kid that quit in the first round. Good for you. Nice. You did a great job. So I always mess with my guys that I still see that are, they're all good people. I've been around the scouting ranks with those guys since I was a kid, being that I played for a scout. So I think a lot of those guys know that, like, I'm halfway serious and kind of joking, but majority.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that. I get it. So what did you know about Toronto? Did you know a damn thing about it? Could you even have found it on a map when you were in Elk Grove High School?
I was a Warriors fan since I was about 10. My dad took me to a game and I kind of fell in love with the Warriors. So I knew the Raptors were up there.
Okay.
And I grew up a diehard baseball fan. So I knew Blue Jays were up there. Knew they were in Canada. Probably if you put a map with just nothing on it, I probably couldn't have pointed in the general area. Probably could not have. But everybody was like, oh, dude, you're going to love poutine. I'm like, I don't know what poutine is. And like, cheese curds with gravy on french fries. I'm like, that sounds disgusting. Still to this day, I have never had poutine just because I'm not a huge gravy person.
Oh, Rowdy.
It just doesn't sound appetizing to
me. I have to admit to you, Toronto is one of the 3 parks I haven't been to in my life. And I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio. It's like a 5-hour drive. I'm such an idiot for not doing that. It looks like such a great atmosphere and everything.
It is pretty cool. I didn't get to play in front of the atmosphere that they have now, but
Right.
like Vlad's debut was really cool to play in front of that many people. They have a huge following. Obviously, they play in front of a whole country. So they have a huge following. They actually traveled pretty well. I think Seattle was probably one of the coolest places I played with them because of it's the only time we go to the West Coast, close to the border. We packed it out, and it was like 85% Blue Jays fans in Seattle.
Always.
So that was really cool.
Yeah. Were you crushed when you were traded?
I think for me, like the trade was a blessing. I always describe it as that. Did I want to leave? Yes and no. I think at some point you got to look out for yourself. I love my guys. I love everybody over there. Like everybody was like waiting for me to have like animosity towards them. And when they came to Milwaukee, I said hi to everybody, hugged everybody, talked to everybody. When they left, I said goodbye to everybody. Like I talked to everybody that I was close with. Obviously, like Danny Jansen, we were drafted together, did every level together, lived together, officiated his wedding. So like seeing everybody like that, I was definitely not like, I didn't spend 12 years there like Freddie Freeman, but like it was one of those things where it was like, it was cool to see everybody. But it was my time, we had the best first baseman in baseball. Vlad is the best first baseman in baseball. And it was time. Like they wanted something, the Brewers wanted something, and it was a perfect setup. And I was happy to go to an organization that, really wanted me and had an idea for me. And I couldn't be more thankful to the Brewers organization for giving me this opportunity. But, I always say Blue Jays let me achieve my dream in a year I probably didn't deserve to achieve it, the numbers. But, I had the opportunity to play in the big leagues in Toronto, and it was great, and I'm happy that they did that for me. And, now I'm just more excited to be a Milwaukee Brewer.
So you officiated Danny Jansen's wedding.
I'm glad that's all you got out of that. But yes, I did. I did.
Not all I got out of it, but man, I'm sorry. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. That one, I cried a ton. So like Jano is probably one of the most, if not the most genuine, kind-hearted, loving people I've ever met. Give you the shirt off his back twice to do anything for you. A great human being. Just an absolute Midwestern dork. It's from Appleton, Wisconsin. I told him when I got to Milwaukee and played in Milwaukee and saw how everybody was, I was like, dude, I 100% get you now. Like I 99% got you, but this 1% of being in Wisconsin, like I got you now. Like I understand why you are the way you are. And I had a blast. Him and Alexis, his wife, came to me and they're like, hey, we want you to be in the wedding. And I was like, kind of looked at him like, not like that arrogant, like, dude, I knew I was going to be a groomsman. And he goes, I want you to officiate the wedding. And I was like, yes. And he goes, well, you have time to think about it. Both of them were like, you can think about it. And I was like, no, yep, I want to do it. And they're like, okay, you're not nervous? I'm like, dude, we play in front of thousands and thousands of people. You think in front of 300 people I'm going to be nervous speaking?
You crushed it, didn't you?
I did. 17 pages. Wrote some of the most heartfelt stuff I ever wrote. Like I cried reading it. He cried. Both of them cried. And Alexis was like, please keep it short, not too emotional. I don't want to cry. And like she was crying. Both their families are crying. I had everybody crying. And I'm crying reading this, trying to be like professional. I mean, I walked down the aisle first. Then Jano came and he's facing me. Weddings, if they're facing you, got to tap and tell them to turn around.
Yeah.
I saw Alexis come out. I started crying. He's looking at me. He starts crying. Nobody's turned around yet. He hasn't turned around and seen Alexis, but tap him like turn around, and he's losing it. Now I'm losing it because he's losing it. Now I'm looking at his dad, Steve. He's got glasses on, so he's cheating. He's crying. I know he's crying. And I look at Alexis' family and they're crying and everybody's just standing there. I'm like, this is unbelievable. This is like what true friendship is when like I had nothing to do with this, just to be on their special day, but like I had a blast. I had so much fun writing it, reading it. Like it was great. I had a microphone. I was super professional.
What was the best line you had in it?
I used the poem I might even have it in my email somewhere, but I think, you have to throw in, I talked to a lot of people officiating weddings who have done it, and they're like, you got to get the cheesy laughs. So throw in like the cheesy jokes. So we were talking about how Jano didn't know how to do laundry. So he would, every time his family would visit, it would be the time he did laundry. I'm like, dude, he would go like a couple weeks, some time without doing some laundry. And I'm like, dude, do you run out of boxers? And he's like, no, like sometimes like I'll just go commando. I'm like, Jenna, what's wrong with you, dude? I mean, granted, like these would be off days, so we don't have to leave our apartment. But he didn't know how to do laundry. It was so funny to watch him go through it all. And we're like 18 years old, living in hotels.
Well, I'm sorry. If you had found that out about him while you're sharing like a couch with him, just chilling, watching some TV, changes the relationship. You know, guys going commando.
I think you went to college.
Yep.
I think what we went through in the minor leagues is very similar to what people go through in college. Like, I don't think it mattered. Everybody was just happy that they had their Uber Eats and they were good to go, and they had video games, and everybody was just cool. Like nobody cared. I mean, again, like baseball's such a brotherhood. Like nobody cared. We just made fun of each other for everything we did.
What's the best minor league story you've got that you can share?
Oh man. So this is my theory. Like every time someone asks me about something like that, or ask anybody, everybody goes blank or like doesn't remember the best ones. And then I'll like hang up on the Zoom and I'm like, damn it.
Okay. Well, then we'll continue on. And if we circle back and you go, oh yeah, there's one more thing, Chris, I can still take that. We got a few more with you. This has been great stuff, by the way. I would wear the City Connect jerseys as my pajamas to bed. That's how much I love your City Connect jerseys.
Oh, they're super comfortable. I look jacked in them. Like I definitely got a body of like a 47-year-old plumber that's had about 12 pack a night for the last 15 years. But dude, I looked good in those, and I was so on it.
My 16-year-old son, who's big time into designing uniforms, he actually designed his baseball high school team uniforms this past year. He said the only thing is that I need the blue pants with them. What do you think? So
I thought when we first heard about them, I thought that's what we were doing. And in Toronto, we have all blue. We have the all powders. I think they're designed to be worn both on at home and on the road. But I don't understand why there's no blue pants either. So, I mean, he has a good point. I thought, especially with teams going to that look, the powder blues really come back for any team that's worn it.
Big time.
So maybe he wants to throw it out on Twitter and at the Brewers or whatever. And
well, we have a great relationship with the Brewers. So if you find it like in late August, there's blue pants, you might go, that Brady Rose kid was onto something.
Yeah.
There you go.
That smart kid with the weird dad. That kid was good. He's smart.
Yep. But that's how I get described. Believe me.
Yeah.
I embarrassed the shit out of him. Like
that's good. I cannot wait to do that. When I have kids, I'm gonna be like the dad that like chaperones the dances, and I'm the dude doing like 1974 sprinkler. Yeah. I'm gonna be trying to break dance, might blow out a hip or something, but I'm gonna be that guy.
But you don't have to wait for those moments like at the school dance and stuff, because here's what I do. We were just at a camp. He was at a baseball camp up at Stanford. It was a great experience for him. But when we go park in the parking lot to go to some restaurant and eat, I am running through the parking lot, jumping up in the air and clicking my heels like 15 feet in front of him and just going, woohoo, woohoo. And he is sitting there like, what the fuck are you doing?
Oh, dude, I do that to myself. Why are you so
weird? Huh?
I do that all the time. That's just my normal life. So
yes, exactly. Like if we can't enjoy the little shit, like that sort of stuff, like just enjoy it.
Yeah, I think, and the more you act normal, I think the slow death is just coming for you. I mean, somebody will look at me and be like, dude, you're stupid. And I'm like, yeah, so are you. And they're like, good comeback. And I'm like, yeah, I know. Like your comebacks don't bother me. Like I'm going to live my life. I don't care if Joe Schmo over here that paid $395,000 for a fucking season pass or whatever, it tells me that I look stupid. I'm like, dude, you look stupid. You paid all that money for that. Like sick, bro. You paid half my paycheck. Thanks, dude. Love you for that. Like, don't tell me what I can and can't do or how I look. I do. You should see how I dress sometimes. Like in the off season.
Yeah.
Complete idiot. I mean, I went to Colton's room Colton Wong's room to grab some water when we got here to Pittsburgh. And I didn't know how the elevator works. Didn't know you had to hold the key on the little scanner thing for like 5 seconds for it to work. So I ended up starting on the 20th floor. I was trying to go to the 16th, ended up in the bottom, and there was a ton of people waiting. I'm in a dress shirt, black short basketball shorts, like short Lululemon shorts, and socks on the elevator. No shoes, nothing, because my suitcase hasn't came yet. So I'm like standing there. I'm like, hey, people are like, oh, there's like a couple Brewers people that work for the Brewers, and they're like, you look comfortable. I'm like, yeah, I am comfortable. Like I travel in my duffel bag with an extra pair of shorts. So I don't have to wear my jeans and dress shoes while I'm sitting in my hotel room. And they're like, oh, okay. I'm like, anybody else? So then I look at this guy and I wear a Whoop band. You know what a Whoop band is?
No.
It like tracks your heart rate, your sleep,
okay.
your nutrition, all that.
Oh,
like,
yeah. Whoop. Okay, I got it. Yeah.
It helps me. And so like this guy's looking at me and he goes, where's your PO? And I was like, what? And he like later I found out he had a Whoop band because I started looking on his body. He goes, where's your PO? I'm like, what? And he goes, does he know you're out of your house? And I was like, what are you talking about? Just shut up. And so I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, then I see on his wrist, he has a Whoop band. I wear mine on my ankle. So like, because in baseball, like I don't want to tape it. I don't wear tape on my wrist. Like, so I just keep it on my ankle. And I'm finally looked down. I'm like, oh, dude, I look like I'm on house arrest with this Whoop band down there. And I'm like, all right, good one, dude. Nice. But all that stems back to looking like an idiot, like I just snuck out of jail with a dress shirt, punched somebody for their dress shirt, stole a guy's shorts, probably had the same socks on, but I could care less what people think about me.
Dude, that is awesome. God, that's so good. I love it. Who would you least like to follow in the infinity gauntlet when you have to put that in? Because there's some guys that like don't wash their hands and you're like, I don't know how clean you are, but like, who's the guy you don't want to hit the home run after?
Well, we all like, most of us have batting gloves on by the time we're like putting our hand in there, but like there's some of our pitchers will just sit there, like guys that are hurt, they'll sit there and have it on the entire time. But trying to think.
There's always somebody who's a little gross on the team. I mean, we all work with somebody who you're like, God, dude probably hasn't showered since Monday. Got to be honest with you.
We have a bunch of clean dudes, actually.
Oh, do they all smell good and stuff too?
Yeah, we have a heavy Latin, I would say, influence. So we all use good cologne. We all have cologne. We all smell good. If I have to be honest, probably me. I'm the sweatiest person of everybody.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm like the guy that like, if you play in a hot area, I can do a line change. I got to take my pants and jersey off, like so I can keep it. Like Atlanta's like the worst place. I'll lose like 2 or 3 pounds a game in Atlanta, but then I'll just eat some like a couple cheeseburgers and be right back to normal.
God, I love you. I love it how you crush. Who's the guy when when you're a first baseman, you have to be kind of the social chair, right? You have to welcome everybody there. Hey, good job, nice hit, all that sort of shit. Who's the guy you most look forward to seeing, like when they come down and see you?
Bryce Harper is always a good conversation.
Oh yeah.
Joey Votto is a very odd conversation. Another good one. Anybody you've played with or came up with, or played against in the minor leagues is good.
What makes Harper good, by the way?
Because he talks. He does, like, and he jokes around. He's not sensitive. Like, you can say pretty much anything you want, and he'll like fire something right back. I call him Bruce sometimes.
You call him Bruce?
Yeah, I don't. It just. Me and Hoskins grew up together, so he was like, "Yeah, sometimes you call him Bruce, like an alter ego." And I was like, "Really?" And he was like, "Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he ever hears it, but I called him at one time." But we talk, like, he's a good one. Freddie Freeman's probably the most positive guy to have over there. Yeah. Again, who is my idol. So, like, that's really cool when Freddie comes over there.
And he's like genuine. Like this whole thing over the last couple of months has been weird. And I think some people look at it like, what is going on? Like, well, with the contract and leaving Atlanta and the tears and all that sort of stuff. But he is like such a nice person. When you come down there and he gives you like a hug, he's really happy to see you.
Yeah. He says it best. Like, you get to first base. That's one of the hardest things to do in the sport is to get to first base. So like he lets you know, like, hey, good swing. Hey, nice swing, good hit. Like, keep playing well. Like, and I sat there. I'm like, I asked him, and I'm like, Freddie, like, you're super nice. And he was like, that's what he said. Getting to first base is one of the hardest things to do in the sport, right behind getting to second, third, and hitting a home run. He was like, so I gotta let you guys know, like, good job, congratulations. It's tough to do. And I was like, dang, that's just pretty cool. Like, that's a good point.
Let me ask you one baseball thing before we spin the wheel and get you out of here so you can get your day moving. The Brewers, I know you haven't been a part of this run that they've had, but they've made it to the playoffs 4 straight years. They had never made it back-to-back years before they finally did it on this little run that they've been on. I don't think it's any longer a cute story for the Brewers to just make the playoffs. Do you have that feeling like guys know we got to step up our game? Obviously, we got to hold off the Cardinals in this division, but we need to do something special. The Bucks have won a title. The Packers are all seemingly always deep into the playoffs. Like, we've got to do something here.
Yeah, I think, I was traded over a little bit before the All-Star break last year. And the vibe was, we got to go. Like, we got to get deep into the playoffs. And we let everybody down last year. We really did. We lost to Atlanta and they ended up winning it all. But, like, we genuinely think we have one of the better teams in baseball. They can go to distance. Our pitching staff's really good. We can hit. And it's not always about who's got the best players on paper. It's about, I think, the camaraderie and bond you have inside the clubhouse that really pushes teams to go. And I think we have a really good group of guys that are like that. There's no egos. Everybody hangs out with everybody. Nobody's off limits. Christian's awesome. You can mess with him. He'll mess with you back. Like, he's an awesome dude, great teammate. Hader's another guy that just shows up, long-haired blonde fella, throws hard. Another just a normal guy that likes to hunt and fish and comes in and shuts it down and does it over and over again. I think a lot of people overlook the whole superstar thing where we don't have a quote-unquote multiple superstar or like that super team. We have an MVP. We actually have 2.
Yep.
We have Willie Adames. It's a really good shortstop. But I think what people don't understand is like how tight knit we are as a group. We all talk to each other. We all hang out with each other. So like I think people underestimate the ability to have, just a good guys all around. Because you look at other sports and other teams, it's not always the best team that wins. Like, it's not always like the most superstars, the highest paid team, the guys that have the most all-star appearances. Sometimes it's like you look back and you're like, that team was just good. Couldn't really describe it. They're just good.
Yep.
So I think that's where we are. A lot of people are like really ready for us to make that jump, and I think we are too as a group. We're ready to not just make it to the playoffs. We know that that's kind of what people think of us as, oh, you're just going to make it to the playoffs. Like, we want to go deep. We want to be that team that's like, okay, next year you got to watch out.
You got a lot of people rooting for you. No question. Hey, did you talk some shit after the Warriors won it all again?
Yeah. So me, Quentin Berry, our first base coach, is a Warriors fan, and Jason Lane are Warriors fans. So I did have some shit talking going on. And then, there's actually a couple Warriors players that are from Milwaukee. Jordan Poole, Kevon Looney are from Milwaukee. They actually just drafted a guy at a university in Milwaukee, Wisconsin-Milwaukee. But yeah, I think I remember when I was in Toronto, they were playing the Raptors in the championship.
Oh, yes.
And I rode my scooter. I would ride a scooter to the field. It was about half mile. And I'd ride my scooter to the field. And this guy had my Warriors jersey on because they were playing. This guy was like, fuck the Warriors. And I was like, fuck you. And he like tried to grab my scooter and he like missed. So like, of course, me being me, I had to like whip around. And I was like riding around. And I'm like, hey, obviously they didn't know who I was either. So like, I kind of had I had sunglasses on, didn't look a part of like I was anything crazy.
Right.
And he was like, I hope you fucking die. And I was like, well, that's a little dramatic. And he was like, the Warriors fucking suck. And I was like, dang, dude. I was like, you're really angry for a team that's never won a championship. I was like, all right. I told him, I was like, hey, man, have fun at the game tonight. And he goes, I can't wait to kick your ass. And I was like, okay, dude, nice. Hey, when the Angry Midget Convention comes in town, I'll let you know. But after that, like, have fun at the game. So I like got back, I like rode on my scooter and got back to the field, and everybody was wearing me out because, of course, like we're in Toronto, wearing a Warriors jersey. So I made a bet with some of the security, and if I lost, I had to wear a Warriors or a Raptors jersey. So I lost. They bought me a Raptors jersey. I had to take a picture.
Nice.
But yeah, but I do talk a lot of shit. That's not just about sports, about life too. Cribbage player, probably one of the best. I just beat Counts too. Counts thought he was a good cribbage player. I had to let him know.
Well, I heard that Terry Francona is a good one. So
yeah, I've heard the same thing. I had DeMarlo Hale, and DeMarlo Hale said the same thing, that Terry Francona is a really good cribbage player. So maybe do a charity event, and I'll show him how to play too.
We'll host it on John Boy Media. We'll be happy to.
I mean, why not?
Spread the word. Dude, this has been a blast.
In the clubhouse, so
you got what?
Yelich is in the clubhouse. He's good friends with all John Boy people.
Yeah, I know. This is what we do, man. We love the Brewers. We're big Brewers people. All right, I'm going to spin the wheel of moderately interesting things. The questions are not very difficult. I'm not very smart.
Okay.
We'll get you on your way.
Relatable.
The small screen. What is your what's your saver on the on your iPhone? What's the picture?
Where's my camera? Me and my mom. And
I love that.
Yeah.
I was hoping that's what it was.
I had hair back then too, but you can't tell with the beanie. But yeah, that's me and my mom. She's actually standing on a rock. That just shows you the height difference.
It's a great photo. Where is that, by the way?
That's at Niagara Falls. That was the last time she saw me play. So she was diagnosed with cancer in December of 2016, and that was in the beginning of 2017. Then after that, pretty downhill for like 18 months. So that was the last time she saw me play in person. But yeah, good picture, good time. So it's always tough to want to change it, but I think at some point you get kids, get married or whatever, you're gonna change it. I have a bunch of pictures still of all of us, so it's pretty cool.
I love that picture. Thank you for sharing. I got to tell you, man. I mean, I knew this was going to be great. I think people will obviously love this episode. There are people who obviously know who you are and your personality, but just keep being you, man. You're so helpful to this game.
Yeah, I said it in Milwaukee. I'm just an average guy with a bad hairline that has a cool job. I actually got to shave my head today. Hair's grown out. Yeah, that's getting long.
What's the front of the lid, by the way? You've had it on backward the whole day. What's the front?
The Monopoly car.
Are you the car every time you play Monopoly?
Sometimes it depends who I'm playing with. I got a couple other cool ones. I got an Angel Grove. That's where the Power Rangers would meet up. Wow. I got this one. It's my Lola Bunny because she's like the best. Got number 11. Yeah, I got Lola Bunny. These are the three I travel with this trip.
It's excellent. I just wore the Milwaukee Brewers hat. I wanted you to feel at home.
I'm a kid.
You are a kid, dude, but you are awesome.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of any other stupid things I have in here. No.
Okay. Nothing I look forward to hearing about the next time that you get on the elevator the wrong direction in shorts with your prison ankle bracelet on and a pressure.
Dude, if I was flexible, I'd show you. I'm not really. I mean, you see the band.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
You can't see the other side. It goes on the inside. It's the whoop part. I'm cramping up. With a lot of moving for me.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah, we'll go hydrate now. Rowdy, this was a blast, man.
Yeah.
Ton of fun. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, dude. I had a great time.
Absolutely. Tell all those guys, including Yelich in there, I say, hey, peace.
I
what's
will.
Up? All right.
I'll tell him Brady's dad said hello.
Absolutely. Oh, he'll know. He hit with Brady in the offseason.
That was good.
Nice. Yeah. For our outstanding producer, Robbie Chiraco, our summer intern, Sam Singer, who did amazing work as well, and Rowdy Tellez. I am Chris Rose. We will see you next time on the Chris Rose Rotation, a production of John Boy Media.